Imagine working for months cutting and stacking logs worth $38,000 on your own land, only to wake up one morning and find them gone. No theft report, no warning, just an empty lot. Then, as you're still processing the shock, the Homeowners Association accuses you of stealing the logs you legally owned. That's what happened to me. But instead of giving in to their threats, I decided to fight back, legally. What started as a case of trespass turned into one of the most satisfying court victories I've ever experienced. Here's how it all went down. I own 10 acres of woodland just outside the HOA's boundary. It's technically my private land, but because the access road runs through the HOA neighborhood, they often act like they control it. Last year, after a major storm, I harvested fallen trees, processed them into high-quality lumber, and stacked them neatly for sale. A buyer had already offered $38,000. Everything was legitimate. My land, my work, my logs. I even kept drone footage for documentation. But a few weeks later, something didn't feel right. Tire marks appeared near the pile, and the locks on my gate were cut. When I arrived one morning, every single log was gone. Over 20 cords of valuable lumber vanished. I first thought it was a theft, maybe by random criminals. I called the sheriff, filed a report, and started checking nearby surveillance cameras. That's when a neighbor showed me footage of HOA trucks driving down my road at dawn. My heart sank. Why would they be there? The HOA president had complained before about the logs being an eyesore. I suddenly realized this wasn't a mistake. It was intentional. And they thought they could get away with it. Before I could even confront them, the HOA sent me a letter. It accused me of removing association, property, and unauthorized logging on shared land. They claimed the area where I cut the trees was part of common space, even though my deed clearly said otherwise. To make it worse, they fined me $5,000 for damaging community aesthetics. It felt surreal. They had literally stolen my logs, and now they were framing me as the thief. My calls went unanswered, so I gathered all my proof, maps, deeds, drone footage, and decided it was time to get legal help. I found a property attorney who specialized in HOA disputes. The moment he saw my documents, he said, "They've got no legal claim, and they've committed trespass and theft." We filed a civil lawsuit for property damage, theft, and defamation. The HOA board seemed confident, almost smug, as if their bylaws overruled state law. They even filed a counterclaim, saying I had illegally taken association timber. But the evidence told a different story. GPS coordinates, drone timestamps, and my land deed clearly marked my boundaries. My lawyer said, "We're going to destroy them with their own arrogance." We subpoenaed their truck GPS data and HOA meeting minutes. That's when the truth exploded. The board had voted to remove the logs from the adjoining property without confirming ownership. They even hired a local contractor paid from HOA funds to haul the wood away. The contractor's invoice listed my address. My lawyer's face lit up when he saw it. "This is your smoking gun." Not only had they trespassed, but they documented it. I knew then this wasn't just about money. It was about standing up to abuse of power. The trial date was set for early spring. Walking into court, I was nervous but ready. The HOA's lawyer tried to portray me as an angry neighbor who didn't understand property boundaries. But when my attorney presented the deed, the drone video, and the HOA's own minutes authorizing the removal, their case started crumbling. The judge's eyebrows rose higher with every exhibit. When the contractor testified that the HOA board told him it was community cleanup, it was game over. You could hear the air leave the room. The judge called it a clear case of trespass conversion and malicious intent. I finally felt justice closing in. The judge ruled in my favor on all counts. The HOA was ordered to pay me $38,000 in damages for the stolen logs, $15,000 in punitive damages, and $12,000 in legal fees. The board members were personally reprimanded for abusing their authority. The courtroom went silent as the decision was read. I didn't gloat, I just felt relief. After months of stress, lies, and intimidation, the truth had won. The HOA's arrogance had cost them dearly. The judge even said, "This is a reminder that HOA rules do not override property law." It was vindication in every sense. News of the case spread fast in the community. Homeowners started questioning the board's actions in other matters, demanding transparency. Within 2 months, 3 board members resigned. The new president actually called me to apologize. I accepted, but I made it clear. If anyone ever crossed onto my land again, I'd call the sheriff immediately. Interestingly, the HOA's insurance refused to cover their legal costs, citing intentional misconduct. They had to pay out of pocket. For once, the system worked exactly as it should. I took the money, replaced my equipment, and built a stronger fence around my land. This whole ordeal taught me some powerful lessons. Always document everything, from property lines to work projects. Always keep receipts, photos, and videos because evidence beats arrogance every time. And never assume an HOA understands or respects property law. Many overstep simply because people are too scared to fight back. I also learned that standing up for your rights doesn't just protect your land, it can change an entire community's mindset. The neighbors now see me not as the guy with the logs, but as the guy who proved that even small landowners have power. The best part? A few weeks after the case, I got a letter from the same contractor who'd hauled away my logs. He said, "Man, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was your wood. Here's a gift." Inside was a handcrafted table made from one of the logs they'd taken. It sits in my living room now, a reminder that sometimes justice takes time, but it comes full circle. The HOA tried to bully me, steal from me, and ruin my name. Instead, they paid for my legal victory and became an example of accountability. And that's real justice.